Let's jump in. So imagine your livepro site being your business or organisation's very own Google. Well, with the Gen AI search, you can. What is the Gen AI tool? So it's sourcing information, and when an agent or user goes to enter a search, now they're able to actually search for questions, as they would when they're using Google. So using questions, phrases, as well as the traditional keyword search. And then from that, it provides a summarised response that the Gen AI is working through and sourcing your content. So the knowledge will actually source from your document notes, your source documents, as well as any available announcements. And it's also that comforting fact that it's secured and from within your livepro content. So if it exists in your livepro site, then it's able to find the answer for you. The more technical description is available on the livepro help site. So if you haven't checked it out before, certainly go check it out. Livepro's got their release notes, information about new releases, improvements, and it's all when it's announced and released. So go check it out. A wise man once said, and it might have been Brad, that livepro isn't a knowledge management solution, it is an answer management solution. And with this tool now, it couldn't be more right. Before I get into our implementation, how we did it, and also a couple of quick demos, what I want to go through is paint a picture of our journey and how we actually set it up from the start. So to get here in 2025, with our livepro and turning on the new Gen AI search function, we've actually had to start from 2021. So we started with no knowledge, no processes, certainly no governance, or any understanding of what standards meant. But with signing up to livepro and also then getting into our launch, we had a better understanding and having those guardrails for our content, as well as making sure that we're adhering to new standards that we've rolled out, because we haven't had it before. We're making sure that we've got in line with our best practice as well. So our content is maintained, it's structured, and also building that muscle memory so that agents know the difference between different knowledge and also quick and easy to find the answers for them. So from there, to be able to do that, and we've now launched from our knowledge coming from nowhere, we also didn't have quality. So we had Genesis, as some may use that platform. We didn't have the ability, or we had no understanding of how to measure standards, what it looked like for success. So having the foundation of our knowledge and building that as the solid forefront and for the setting out the groundwork, then that enabled us to then switch on our agent assist. So using that Genesis platform and turning on with livepro. And then again, concreting that content, making sure it's up with the strict governance and you've got those standards in place, then it's an easy work to then launch into our dynamics that we changed over to for our systems or our CRM. And then it was able to turn on the Copilot. So all of these things have been able to be rolled out because we've laid out that groundwork. We've got the structures in place, we've got that governance, strong governance, and those standards from which we never had before. But we've done all that from the start. We've done the hard work to then get to this point and be able to roll out the new feature. So, implementation, how did we do it? We started with a trial. So, for the trial, it gave us the ability and a little bit of a time to understand what the feature actually is. Being able to see it for ourselves, what is it actually going to achieve for us, and how does it work? Then from there, it's that classic, what's in it for me or what's in it for them? So that WIFM abbreviation. So what's in it for the agents? What makes this tool so great for them? And more importantly, how does it make their lives easier? Because that's the real question. As well as your stakeholders. So what are the benefits for your stakeholders? What's that return on investment? As well as getting that buy-in. So not only from your contact centres or your agents, but your other stakeholders and parties involved. In line with the trial, then we had the engagement. So we chose our small group of SMEs to be able to take on and help roll out the new changes. And this gives them that confidence and building that trust. And I know it's a key word today, of that trust in your SMEs. But really, they're the ones that are going to be championing anything that you roll out. So with that came the safety, making sure that the search was actually working for them, and also being able to vet the content. So before it gets out to the wider team, making sure that, is this the right answer? Is it working as it should? And the expected behaviour. From there, and then being able to use it themselves, seeing the benefits, then they're able to be your biggest promoters. So again, another key word of your promoters, your change specialists, these are the guys that usually have the 10 years or the most restriction out of your group. They're the ones that you want to bring on board early to be able to then sell it to the rest of the team. If they're the ones that are proud of it and happy to use it, then it makes everyone else feel comfortable and say, oh, this person's been working here for 10 years and they like the feature, or they can help them if they run into trouble as well. So it's not relying on team leaders, your coaches, and things like that. And we also gave the opportunity for feedback. So it's not just opportunity, you always want feedback, whether it's good or bad. And so we went out to the SMEs before we rolled it out to say, what is good? What do you like about it? Is it working? But also, what don't you like about it? And why not? I'm pretty confident and happy to say that it was a positive intake from the start, so that was good. And then from there, we were able to just roll it out to the rest of the team. All right, so a little bit of what we've seen since the rollout. So with a few months in having the new feature, it's been that confidence boost. So now you've got the tenures and your SMEs being able to promote the tool, but also your brand new starters, the ones that are coming in and actually using it and having that confidence to not have to funnel through all of your content using the traditional search. They're trying, that panic of having the customer on the phone and thinking, I need the answer, I'll just put them on hold, I'll take a breath and I'll speak to the team leader about it. Well, now that it's surfacing an answer within seconds and it's surfacing it up, they can relax and they can see the content for themselves. Not only with the search and the summarised answer that it gives, it also provides the source and link and reference to where that information came from. So that's helping your tenures to go, all right, this is the answer. If it's wrong, then you're able to have that feedback, but also then they can check out, click on the link, and go into that content for more information if they need it. Areas of opportunity. So we've seen from, with any new system or feature rollout, that this comes new reports. So with the new feature, you're able to understand what the search results are, what's happening with the content and the use of the tool. Has anyone here checked the no search results and thought, I have no idea what the agent was looking for? You don't know the context, could be a random word, and you think, where do I go from here? Now they're able to put in questions and actual phrases, so now you're getting a better understanding of what the agent is looking for in these reports. So from just a basic word, now you're actually seeing the full question, and then there you're able to identify any gaps in your knowledge. Is there any new content that needs to be created? Is there any gaps in where you actually need to amend or update your content? But also, it might just not need to belong in your site to begin with. In addition to the reports, so from that, you have your understanding of what the Gen AI search is actually given to the agent as well. So that helps with quality. So you're able to go, was it the correct answer? Did they answer the inquiry or the call correctly? But then also, if they search and it doesn't provide an answer, it'll say it doesn't have an answer. And so there you're able to understand, okay, this might be new content, but also having that guardrails is, Gen AI or any AI platforms, there's that resistance, and you go, is it going to bring in some rogue answer? Is it going to be pulling in from the web? But it is contained and it's within your own knowledge. And the benefits. So the benefits that we've seen, it's a no-brainer. It provides answers in seconds. That is it. That's the key benefit. But apart from that, what we have seen is a reduce in average handle time. So with the calls coming in or any inquiries, they're holding on to emails for a long time. They can search. It'll produce an answer for them within seconds. And then from there, we've also seen a reduction in average hold time as well. So that gives a clear indication to us that they're not having to put those customers on hold. They're not having to go through the search and try and look at buried content within your site because it's giving them the answer straight away. So a couple of stats. We love stats. So with the SMEs and the wider team, we've seen an average handle time decrease from 20 seconds to up to 1 minute. So that's huge. So that's the entire contact centre. And then more interestingly, we've got the SMEs with the average hold time decrease as well, and that's by 30 seconds. With that, and what I understand, because the SMEs have had it a little bit longer with the tool, they've got that trust and that confidence with the tool that they're able to rely on it more. So we've only switched it on with the wider team quite recently, but we're seeing that develop and it's going to continue to grow and improve. And then some quick verbatims. So if you don't know already, our livepro site is Moogle, Mitsubishi Google. But now with the tool, it couldn't be more perfect and more matching. The search function, one of the guys is saying, you know, the amount of times, you know, your traditional search is great. It can source and offer knowledge objects to you, but wondering whether it's the right content, trying to filter in, you're using your accordions. Now it's reducing that and you can just get the answer straight away. And before I jump into my demos, I just want to go through a couple of do's and don'ts when setting up for success. So, use universal or customer language. So you want to take that work jargon or your jargon that you have. I know that we mentioned it earlier from our previous presentation, but you want your content to be easy to understand and easily digested as well. So making sure that you're setting up right the first time and having that content easily absorbed, it eliminates the rewrite and the duplication, having to modify your content just to match and suit the tool. If you're doing it right the first time, then you're able to switch it on with ease. From that, as well as not only writing your content that's easy to digest, you've also got and I know for a few of our departments as well, where they are trying to target their knowledge and using language that is directed at a particular audience, where it's, you do this person does this. Well, you've got your scopes and roles for that. You need to make it universal so that anyone in your business, or anyone in fact, can jump on your livepro site, use the search, and understand exactly what the information has been provided. And then from there, the content to support your answers. So again, I know I'm referencing the session earlier. I was going to say they've stolen a lot of what my content is. But from there, you don't want to fill your content just for the sake of it. Making sure that, and be strict with it to make it actually benefit your agents or benefit your users. You don't want to fill it up so that they're scrolling, because the Gen AI will have to do it as well. It's going to read through and offer results and you go, well, that's not really relevant. So making sure that it is easy, quick, and easy to comprehend. And then lastly, a couple of don'ts. So don't muddy your content. What I mean by that is making sure that you're removing that filler, but then also blurring what lies in your facts or document notes if you've got livepro already, and then blurring that into your work instructions. So there was a difficult time of, people saying, oh, you should have this information in a work instruction, or, just put a couple of steps in your document notes. Well, because the Gen AI is using your document notes, your source documents, it's not reading from your work instructions. So making sure that it doesn't blur, because it's going to be reading from that target knowledge, but then again, going in and making sure that it's relevant. And then steering away or missing the whole purpose of the Gen AI. So Gen AI provides an answer. Yeah, it does. What it doesn't do is replace the necessity for process. So think of the most complex work instruction or process that you have for your livepro site. There's if-then tables as far as the eye can see. What Gen AI can't do is to be able to navigate that case-by-case basis. What it can do is surface the answer for them. It's giving facts, it's giving quick information, relevant and straight to the agent. So, document notes, announcements, and source documents, these are facts. They belong in and belong with and for Gen AI. Your work instructions and your process do not. So don't blend the two. Now for some demos. All right, so I've spoken about the tool, now you get to see it in action. So generally, using your keyword search, your search base as you would, but now you're able to actually search for a phrase, a question, again, mimicking how you already have that expectation or behaviour from Google. So I can put in Outlander, it's one of our vehicles, spare tyre. They might have an inquiry regarding a customer. There's different types of spare tyres, but this is generating a response relevant to the phrase. It's not a keyword. I've put in a couple of keywords, so you're not having to update that keyword piece in your knowledge as well. But you can see here those references. So we've got reference 1, checking the source, and the agent can go straight to the knowledge object itself. They can also give it a thumbs up and thumbs down, so you're getting a little bit more feedback as well. If they don't want to fill out and give you more context, they will tell you they're busy already or busy enough. From the phrase, I'm going to ask it a question. So, what's the address for Asplit Mitsubishi? Now, I don't have these questions word for word in my livepro site. What I do have is a list of our dealerships and their addresses, and it's actually pulling from, well, what is the address? Pulling it up straight away, here's the address. If you're unsure, don't believe it, check out the sources. Another one of the common searches that we see from our agents as well is those quick ones that you need straight away, like what's the contact number for finance? What's the contact number for IT help desk? Things like that. So it's generating the answer straight away. You can get the phone number, or you can provide address, contact, or anything you need straight to the answer, straight to the customer. I do want to demonstrate the guardrails in place. So let's say how to bake a cake. Unable to find the answer. So that gives you confidence that it's not going to go rogue, it's not going to try and pull your answers from anywhere else. If it doesn't belong in your livepro site, it will say it doesn't know. And then from there you can check your reports and go, all right, what didn't provide an answer? Or you can understand those gaps in your knowledge and then be able to fill in the gaps of, is it new content, is it modification, or it doesn't belong, it's not needed. So the last thing as part of my demo, I just want to show you the reports because I was so pleased when we were asked for feedback, and I started typing out an email. Oh, I need the results so I know exactly what's actually being delivered to the agent, or, well, what is it going to look like? What are the reports? It's already there. So I go to the email. But from there, I'll show you a little bit just to get the visual of it. So from here, we can see the term or the sentence or what the agent has actually searched for. So again, it's not that needle in a haystack of I'm not entirely sure of what the agent's looking for. Now we've got a phrase. Now we've got literal questions that we can use when we're pulling in these results to say what's missing. And then we can see what actually was given to the agent as well. And you'll see here, no answer, no answer. Great, I see that and go, there's a gap in our knowledge and I need to find out some more so that we can put it into our livepro site. That's it. I think I might have gone under time, apologies. Questions, I guess?
Oh, yep. I have 2 quick questions, if that's okay. Great presentation. The first one is the Gen AI overview. Is that verbatim of what it would be in the article from the source?
It's not word for word. It will provide, and it's the same as Google, so it'll bring in the answer that is not word for word, but tailored to what the phrase is or what the question is. So it's not using that one keyword search. If you've got a phrase, it'll try and pull the matches and get that holistic summarised answer. What I didn't show you earlier as well is the bullet points. So you can also, with anything AI, you can tell it what to do. So if there's a list of information that's provided from your search result or your summarised answer, you can say, put it in dot points. And that makes it easy for the agent as well.
And the other question is it based more on the content rather than the keywords?
Yeah. So because of Gen AI, and I don't know whether you guys want to speak about how the tool works.
I can help jump in here, Nicole. And I will talk to this a bit in the session as well, but so the way it works essentially is when the user does the search first, the results come back as they normally would. So using the keywords and having everything sort of tagged properly, having the title filled out, summary, all that sort of stuff, helps it find the documents. Then those documents are passed over to our model based on what the search has found, and then it generates an answer off those documents. So as you saw with Nicole's question there where she asked it how to bake a cake and it said I didn't have an answer, for her, she might not have an answer. If you're an admin and you do have access to that document, it will generate an answer to you because the search first finds that document for you and then generates the response. So that's sort of how you make sure it doesn't have what they call context rot, where essentially you're giving it too much irrelevant information and having it trying to figure out what you're talking about. Like, you know, think about going to a library and trying to find a book versus, okay, the answer's in this book instead. So you get much more succinct results. Does that answer that question?
Nicole, I wanted to know a little bit more about the reduction in AHT and hold time and how long it took for that to happen and how you were able to kind of definitively tie that back to the livepro updates.
Yeah, so when I pulled those reports, it was when we implemented it with our SMEs. So they've had it for a few months now, that we were able to compare it with the previous month and the month before. So it wasn't just, all right, what's here and what's the most recent month beforehand. I went and compared it against several months to go, is this concrete? Is this actually the benefits that we're seeing, are they real? That's where implementing it, that's where we've seen the SMEs have more benefit so far with their results. And then from, I think we've had for our wider team, maybe a month or just over a month. And again, comparing it to previous months and their results compared to now and using that tool, but then also seeing the actual reports itself for the Gen AI. So what agents are using it and then the content that comes afterwards or what the answer is generating for them and then tying it back into our quality.
I have a question about Gen AI, I'm over here, hi.
Sorry.
Did you have to go through a Gen AI approval and governance board? And if so, how hard was that? And other than convincing them that the content only comes from livepro, any tips on how to get through the scariness that is Gen AI?
Yeah, when it comes to the selling point with your stakeholders about, the livepro is just reading from your content itself. We've also had the luxury and benefit of our IT team being really supportive of new Gen AI tools. Because we've switched on Copilot beforehand, that's when we had the barriers there. But again, with the livepro content comes that strict guardrails of only relevant information. So I don't have too many tips, I'm afraid. We were just lucky to have enthusiastic IT team and stakeholders that were really encouraging. So,
how easy was it to actually implement in practice? I guess from a technical point of view, was it just like an add-on that you turn on and you just start to use it on day one? And did you have to do any training, or it's just so intuitive that everyone just started using it?
And from my earlier point as well, we were able to switch it on almost straight away because we'd actually set up our content from the start of making sure it's the strict standards, you've got your processes and your facts, and so that they don't blend and come across. So we were able to turn it on. We had that benefit, and I'm the one that's creating the content, so it should work. But then, what was your next question, sorry?
Is it just like an add-on? Do you just tell livepro?
Yeah, speak to the livepro team, turning it on, but you're able to actually, when you sign up and get the tool itself, you're able to choose and funnel into what agents or what users have the permissions to use it. So it's an easy admin task that you can turn on as well. And then and I remember now, with the agents and our menu training needed, not really. Well, no, because they're already aware of the behaviour. Everyone uses Google. I haven't found anyone that hasn't used Google before. So they already have that understanding of the behaviours, what their expectation is. We had those SMEs to be able to make sure that it was safe or actually vet from the start. And then that gave us confidence to say, it's not broken, everything good. Okay, let's roll it out to the rest of the team. So turned it on and here we are. Thanks.
Question on that and your do's and don'ts, specifically your don'ts. The AI is only ever as good as the content that is made. How do you manage the retention of critical thinking when there's a summary right there for you and it's really easy to go, oh yep, and just trust it?
The trust is that big piece, but because, and I have the benefit of having written the content, but making sure that your content is relevant so that you know that the summarised answer is going to be what they need and they can trust it. So it's not going to pull information from anywhere else with your keyword search. You can also then adapt and change, and then you've got your reports if you need to update content. So there hasn't been that the answers aren't getting to where they need it the first time. It's generally that success straight away because they're able to put in those questions more specifically, and then it's getting that information from the facts and your document notes.
Oh, hello. Just quickly, just Phil from livepro here. Just been on a few product demonstrations lately with some prospects, and some of the things we're doing, it's not just like what is, it's compare these products, and we'll actually compare the products if the information's in the system, then give you a breakdown of where the products may be different. Also, I might ask it a question and then say, can I have the answer in French or Chinese, and it'll then translate that AI overview into a different language. So there's a lot of other capabilities. I suppose it's just about your imagination and how you ask the questions. There's another question here.
Thank you. I was just wondering if you know how many of your agents are using it are based on calls versus those that are doing emails, instant messaging, web chats, or anything else like that, or is it just your staff that are on calls that mainly use it?
Yeah, it's predominantly our calls because we've got email templates, and we also use our Dynamics and Copilot for our livepro as well. So that's generating email templates as well and tailoring it to the web inquiry or your email. So the Gen AI search is predominantly for phone calls, but it's also not just our contact centre that are using it, it's the other teams that are using that as what's the phone number for our IT team, or who looks after this dealership, who's the sales manager for this one. So it's not just for calls for the contact centre, it's predominantly calls, but then for the other teams that have access to it, then they're still using it and getting those quick answers for them.
And I just have a follow-up question. If your calls are, recorded or anyway, is there any way, and this may be a livepro question, I'm not sure, is there any way that it could actually just listen to the calls and generate it rather than the staff even having to type in a question or a text?
If livepro want to stop me, but that almost goes into the, we've got Genesis, so we've turned on that agent assist. So while it's listening to the transcript of the call live, and as the conversation is going, it'll surface information for them. So that's another tool that we're using as well to help with that.
But yes, to follow up on that, that is sort of part 2 of the Genesis Assist piece, which is currently we sort of surface the articles they'll use, but then we'll want to sort of listen to the full conversation and then generate the response they can use. But it's a bit trickier than we initially thought, just because, you know, customers will ask 500 questions at one time, and then the conversation goes 5 different ways, and then so just making sure you're giving them the right sort of answer at the right time. But it's definitely something we want to be sort of doing soon.
First part of the question, you could also have that search box integrated into your website or your intranet style, so you could get the generative responses through your website if your knowledge was hooked up to livepro as well.
Nicole, I have one question if I can, just in relation to information management. So the examples that you have given are internal system resources for staff who work within Mitsubishi. But can you see a future where this system is used by external customers? Say, for example, where an owner's manual is on the Mitsubishi website, where I can just search, how do I turn off the lights on my keys, or how do I stop the car from responding to the beeper? Is that something that you see for the future?
Absolutely. So we have our content, or this might be a little bit off topic, but because we're using Dynamics as well, and our content feeds from livepro into Dynamics, then we're able to turn on, and we're potentially putting that into our website. So it's generating answers from our livepro and then through Dynamics to then our website as well. And then with our new customer portal for Mitsubishi, we have the ability to upload online manuals. We don't have it just yet, but we'll be able to then work through, and we're hoping to have that. It's the end goal really for a customer to just put in, how do I top up my fluid, or change my wiper blades and things like that. It's absolutely, that's what we're looking for.
In fact, we've spoken about it. In fact, they've said, ask the assistant as you're driving, and it'll give you the answer. So that's the future. Thank you for seeing it.
Hey, Nicole. I thoroughly enjoy your presentations every year, so thank you very much. They're very informative. I guess my question is about your rollout and the feedback in regards to your SMEs trialling that. What, from a contact centre perspective, how was that managed? Was it in a live environment in their testing phases, or did they have time set aside to test and trial themselves to ensure that it was pulling the correct source information? And upon that, how was the feedback provided to your team about its functionality? As in, was it just purely through livepro, or was there one-on-one meetings or collaboration meetings or whatnot?
With that, we basically just jumped straight in. With our SMEs, they did have a little bit of time to play around with it, but then also we were asking them, test it out, whether it's emails or while they're on a call, because they're SMEs and they generally know the answer anyway. Then giving them asking them, hey, when you get this call or through any calls, test it, try it out. let us know if it gives the right answer. So that was that vetting piece that we want to make sure before we rolled it out to the wider audience, to make sure that they have time, they can actually promote and welcome the change. So yeah, it was a little bit of that, bit of time in preparation, but not too much. There wasn't any training involved because, again, everyone knows how Google works, so it's that expected behaviour already. And then with that, the one-on-ones, so you don't have to train for this tool because what's the word? It just happens. You know what to expect. It's going to generate an answer for you. So there wasn't any training that needed to be done, or any rogue one-on-ones that don't use that or don't search this because it doesn't work. And then with our feedback, it was, put it in livepro, put in your general feedback for the tool. But then also, if they weren't comfortable with that, come to me. I'm friendly. Everyone knows me in the contact centre and through the business. So let me know what doesn't work, or also, I do want to hear about the positives, but mainly with the negatives of what isn't working and what I can do to help them and get a good result. So that was the feedback.
And just to Jackie's point, Jackie asked the question about getting the company's approval and things like that. Most of you are going to come up against that. Mitsubishi is not. They're cautious, but they actually they do a lot of checking. But I'd say a lot of you are actually going to get your organisation saying, "Oh, I don't know whether we can trust AI, or we're a bit scared of it." Come back to us. We can actually explain technically behind the scenes to the people in your organisation that have the technical questions what we've done to make sure that the hallucinations aren't there, that it's not going to make things up. And the guardrails and the prompts are really important. The search is important, and the governance and making sure that it can only access approved knowledge. And we need to explain it to the people, because lots of people are nervous, because the news doesn't come out with all the great stories that AI has been doing. The news will come out with the things that it's done wrong. And so therefore it's making management say, we've got to have AI, but God, we're scared of it. So it's a very good point, Jackie. And so if there's any sort of question about it, we can give you the answers as to what all the work we did. We wanted to get it out 6 or 8 months quicker, but we had to go through a lot more testing and a lot more refinement to make sure it's right. So, please come to us and we'll be able to give you the technical things that we've done so that we can tell the people and give them technical comfort. And then, as Nicole said, just play with it for a few months and make sure that you're also comfortable with it. Any other questions? My team would have been really shocked if I didn't have one say. That's it. Can I get everybody to give a round of applause to Nicole?